Big Brother is right around the corner, and so we have a lot to do to get ready for this new season. The cast came out on Monday, and I did the first half of the preview show on Monday night. Tonight, I am doing the second night of the preview show, which is previewing the men. So I have to create some images. This is the stuff that's going to be on the TV behind me as we go through.
The preseason of Big Brother is always a fun time. We're learning about this cast. We're learning who these people are, who we're going to be watching for the entire summer. And then we get to make wild speculation about who they are and what they're going to do. And we're usually wrong. In fact, I think 90% of the time we're wildly wrong.
The Big Brother cast assessments each season are both my most interesting and my most terrifying time.
Yeah, I think the preseason of Big Brother is different in a lot of ways than the preseason of Survivor, in part because there's no opportunity for like a Redmond scenario. There's nobody who's releasing a cast that filmed months ago because nothing was filming months ago.
The Big Brother cast assessment is always funny because there's so little that we can take away from somebody just talking to Jeff. Like, we have a bio, and sometimes we get these other interviews, but you could listen to somebody and they sound great in the preseason, and then it's the first weekend of the feeds and they're on the block and they were a lunatic.
The process is interesting. We go through each person's interviews. We look at as many interviews as possible to base our wild speculation in as much truth as we can.
These shows are littered with the corpses of people who we thought were going to be great based on their preseason material and flamed out very early for all the wrong reasons.
Going back to like a Joey. Oh, Joey, I think she's got potential. I think she could win. Oh, Jose seems like he's going to get along with the men and the women in the house. What a charismatic personality. And then you really have no idea ultimately before you turn, like, oh, Audrey seems like she's really going to be up to a lot of different schemes in the house. And the people who are often the best are the people that can just like sort of be like low key and under the radar.
Watching the feeds is probably the most difficult aspect of being a live feed correspondent or a live feed watcher in general, making sure that you know everything. I think that even the people that just watch all the time are going to have a hard time understanding everything that's going on, because if you're not doing research, you're still only getting things from your perspective.
The issues with the fandom is that they watch the live feeds far more than I do, and they are perfect because they are a collective. You see, when you're a collective of, 2,000 people, you're going to get everything right 100% of the time because it's 2,000 voices speaking as one.
A lot of times I find myself with feeds up and maybe I'll try to multitask, but I'm really not multitasking. So, as a result, I have to take breaks and I have to come back and make sure, okay, did I miss anything important?
It's a difficult thing. You can't only rely on your own perspective. You need to get other perspectives. And even just looking at Twitter is not enough, because Twitter often has a single kind of consciousness.
But when I'm watching the live feeds, I watch, 6-8 hours a day. I have it going on in the background when I'm doing other things. I flash back to everything. I use Twitter. I use BB Feedster. I use Online Big Brother to keep myself up to date. But eventually I'm going to make a mistake. And when I do, everyone loves to point it out and they say, don't you watch the live feeds? Aren't you a live feed correspondent?
I will go and research multiple different sources, BB Daily, Online Big Brother, Joker's Updates, Reddit, Twitter, all of it, and get multiple different takes on what's happening, as well as my own take from watching myself, and try to present things as cleanly as possible.
With Big Brother, I know for the most part when I'm doing the shows, I have to sort of stay on top of the feeds during the day, but really the LFC, they keep track of all that stuff. I'm on Twitter. I'm just trying to, stay on top of everything. But for the most part, my nights are, getting ready to do the shows around like 5 or 6 o'clock. And then I have basically like 3 solid hours. Scott St. Pierre edits the podcast from that point on. There's really no good way to come up with these winner picks on these shows. It's almost impossible, especially like picking a Big Brother. With a Survivor, I feel like I have a little bit more of what I'm looking for. With Big Brother, I'm just like, throwing a dart. You want somebody, you just like basically eliminate the train wrecks and then go from there. You know, you got like you take like 5 or 6 train wrecks out of the mix, and you got like a 1 in 10 shot. It's so impossible to predict what these Big Brother players are going to be like from the bios. That I don't think there was anybody that we really like. We thought Paul was going to be terrible. We thought that Tiffany Rousseau was going to be this mastermind. It's impossiall. There's no way to be able to really have your finger on your pulse unless you're Taryn.
And then we do a draft, and that's when it gets serious, because drafts are very serious, and they need to be brought up on every podcast. I have in fact not been defeated, and I subtly work it in occasionally with my team names: team undefeated, team still undefeated, but I don't try to put it out there too much. I don't want to be braggadocious or anything.
Oh yeah, I take the draft more serious than I used to. I definitely care to win now. Like, I didn't used to care for a while. I used to be like, whatever, it's just a fun thing we do. Now I would be happy to see someone other than Taryn win one time, and then I'll probably be good.
I try not to involve myself too much in the scheduling, other than to say, okay, I'm doing a show this day, this day, this day. I'll turn over a lot of the LFC booking. Back in the spring, I just said to Alex, I don't want to think about this. You figure it out. I just want to show up. I don't want to know about who is going on and on what day.
As far as the booking goes, I don't really have any much of a hand in that. There are times when I will message a previous Big Brother alumni and say, hey, we'd like to have you on the show, but then I will usually point them to Rob or Alex. In the beginning, it was all Rob. Rob, it's called Rob as a podcast. Rob did everything in the beginning. But now it's Rob has a planet, so Rob has underlings to help him, and that underling right now is named Alex Kidwell.
We saw in one of the early RHAPisodes that Rob has a big physical board of Survivor guests. I've got the same thing for Big Brother, only in Excel format that we can all access on a Google Sheet. And it's been really helpful, I think, because it's tough. I think people underestimate how flaky reality personalities can be. It's very tough to book a guest and then make sure that booking is in fact booked. Like, there's a lot of times where you never know. You got to follow up is all it comes down to.
A Big Brother season, it can be not unlike, a committed relationship. And I don't know if you're familiar with the book or the film 50 Shades of Grey. You need to keep introducing more things to keep it exciting. You need to, build the suspense of what's going to happen next. And so if you keep just doing the same thing, it's going to get boring. So you need to keep reinventing new ways to make it fun and exciting and a surprise, 3 nights a week. We're going downstairs to the kitchen. T-minus 30 minutes until the live show. We're cutting it a little close. And then people will say, why can't we start on time? And the answer is this really is, a lot to do. And then I'm going to attempt to multitask and eat this while I'm doing stuff, and then also not make that much of a mess. Okay? This is exciting yet? Podcast life? I'm lucky that I still have my voice at this point. I did the News AF podcast, and then I went right into the Better Call Saul finale, and then I recorded the Seinfeld recap podcast, and then had a little bit of a break here to get some stuff ready, and then now we'll go right into doing Big Brother stuff. This is where I'm going to end up eating most of the meals that I'm there. So, you could say this is like Asian inspired, but it's really just that I don't want to get food all over my desk, and the couch is like I'm going to be hunched over. So this is like a pretty efficient position for me to try to shovel food into my mouth and get a podcast done. So I just set up this PowerPoint presentation here. I have it saved into a network drive. Then we're gonna go over here. try to get the air on in here because it's really hot during the day. Turn this TV on. I'm gonna find the Apple TV remote, which, did I drop it on the floor today? You know, the Apple TV remote is very hard to find. It's like the hidden immunity idol when I find it. And then during the show, now I can go to the next slide and go to the next person that I'm talking about. And that'll be over my shoulder while I'm doing the live show. This is going to be the computer that I talk on the Google Hangout, where I'll be able to see the guys and Scott during the live show. I have this set up where I have a webcam sort of set up like a teleprompter where I'm looking directly into the camera, but I'm actually trying to look on the screen. Sometimes you might see me like trying to like crane my head around to try to read a question. I might have to move the window around. And then over here, this is the computer where I'm actually going to be recording the audio that comes out of my mixer. There's a fine line between how much coffee a person can drink and whether or not their bladder can get through a long podcast. So we are always just trying to push it to the limit as far as possible to not have to walk away during a live show. Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast, and now he's the guy who really can't wait to talk about the men of Big Brother 19. I'm Rob Sestrino, and welcome back to our Big Brother Men's Preview.